So next we have a panel discussion where some of our guests are going to answer some of your questions. That's going to be facilitated by Kevin Nair. So Kevin, I'll pass over to you to start.
I've been given the honour today of leading this panel discussion with our esteemed guests, some of whom you've already heard speak and some that you'll hear a little later and tomorrow. They're going to answer the questions that you put out during the day, and also some of the questions that you had come out from your study circles. So, without further ado, I'd like to invite to the panel Dr. Narendranath Reddy, Dr. Anupom Ganguli, Brother Neville Fredericks, Brother Krishnan Nair, and Brother Gulab. Okay. And the first question we have, someone says, Swami says, your life is my message. The question is, how do we make our life his message? We must check out that first.
I think we can all stand up. Can you hear? Yes. What is Swami's message? His life is his message. He says his message is love. So our life, his message is life, love, which is translated to action. As the youth beautifully said, constantly practice his presence, his watching our thoughts, words and deeds. So always whatever we think, do or say will be with love. And also they also said beautifully, always have a sense of gratitude for everything we do. So be grateful to the community, to the grateful to the family, grateful to the world. So that is the way we do the message of love and being exemplars. That is the way Swami said these prayers. Actually, in this connection, I would like to read the thing of Chaitanya. Swami himself has written to one of the devotees, his own handwriting. So I will read this, which will talk. Accept my blessings. The best method of spreading Vedanta philosophy, his message, is to live it. There is no other royal road. Swami is telling, just we have to live that. There is no other royal road. Live in God, all is right. Make others live in God, all shall be well. Believe this truth, you will be saved. In the lowest world as well as in the highest human being, the same divine nature is present. The worm is the lower form in which the divinity has been more overshadowed by Maya. That is the highest form in which he has the least overshadowed. Behind everything, the same divinity is existing. And out of this comes the basis of morality. Assert your Godhead. Fling into oblivion the little bubble bursts, it finds itself in the whole ocean. You are the whole, the infinite, the all. You are divinity itself, the holy of the holies. The world is no world, you are the all in all, the supreme power which no words can describe. Nobody or mine. You are the pure I am, that you are. Heaven is within you. Seek happiness not in the object of senses. Realize that happiness is within yourself. With blessings, Sri Sathya Sai Baba. This is the profound message Swami is telling. Living, there is no other way to spread his message except by living it. And she says we need to assert our Godhead and assert that we are the I am. So this is what Swami has said. Anybody else?
Thank you, Dr. Reddy. We are all at different stages on our spiritual path, and it can take some time to get to that higher state that Dr. Reddy has just spoken about. And we will find different aspects of Swami's teachings, and in particular of time that are leading us on towards this higher realisation that God is all-pervading and is residing in everyone, and that we are highly motivated to act in accordance with our conscience. I often see Swami as the practical guru who is giving us advice. How do we do this, I think the question was. And that is to take time to develop a sensitivity to the prompting of our conscience. To me, that's been a very important aspect of my spiritual path, to try and hold my mind in the contemplation that God is residing in my heart and in every other heart, and that I should really be sensitive to the prompting of that voice of conscience.
Sai Ram. The quick thing I would add to that is Swami's teachings are very practical. If you just follow one of them, it will lead you to the summum bonum of life. And one of the simplest things is what he says, see good, do good, be good, and you'll get there. Another practical tip I found useful is do not separate work by this is Swami's work, divine work, this is my work, this is secular work. There is no such thing. As Dr. Reddy was pointing out in the letter, let divinity permeate your whole life, which means whether you're working in school, working at home, you're working on a side project, follow Swami's principles and follow the 5 human values. That will be it. You don't need to go into a prayer room to pray and then come out and behave differently. That is not the way to divinity. It's something that we have to struggle to practice. And we have to watch ourselves. I think all of us know the principle of watch, right? W-A-T. You see, I see everybody nodding their head. So watch your words, watch your action, watch your thought, watch your conduct, watch your heart. And Swami will get you there. Have absolute faith in Him. One of the things I find people doing is that now that Swami is not in his form, they go looking for other gurus elsewhere. He's inside us. If you have faith in that, that's all you need. In his previous avatar, he used to say, faith and perseverance, shraddha shaburi. These are the 2 things we need. Please keep that in mind, faith. Sai Ram.
Thank you. It seems that somebody for that question would be that Swami's simple teachings like love all, serve all, see good, be good, do good, those have probably the most impact if we actually pay attention to them. And I think one of the important ones as well is to have an attitude of gratitude. Second question, a bit of a lengthy one. We are strongly advised to stay in good company and avoid bad company. I do not doubt this, but I have one query. We are in the world to seek self-realization, and we are also a member of a local, national and international committee with whom we have to constantly interact. In these groups, however, there are many people with habits that are both good and bad. Should we utilize our better qualities to influence those who indulge in bad habits?
Sai Ram, everyone. I think the important thing is, Swami has always said, tell me the company you keep and I'll tell you what sort of person you are. And therefore, it flows on to say that when we are in a company and we always stand firm with Swami's teachings, if Swami's teachings and what he has told us is with us, and we go into a worldly situation where there are people of different perceptions, you will find that if you hold steady to Swami's teachings, the question that will be prompting in you is, will Swami accept this? Will he approve of this? And then when you are in that company, you find that it is not the person that you are concerned about. But whatever he does, you may not want to follow that. Eventually, when the other people see a change in you, you become the catalyst for the change in that company. And I've seen this happen many, many times. when you stand firm with Swami's principles, with Swami's teachings, it's very important. The 3 steps one needs to take. He says, come, examine, and experience. Once you have experienced it, then you will know that you are steadfast in what Swami's teachings are, and when you're in the company of others, it doesn't affect you in any way. In fact, you will be changing the other person. So it is like this, you see. When you put a grain of sugar on your tongue, you know that sugar is sweet. So if you're in a company of somebody else and somebody comes along and says, no, sugar is not sweet, it is salty. But because you have already tasted it, you know for yourself what sugar is. It is sweet. That is the experience. So once we have experienced Swami's teachings and we are steadfast in that, we find that the other characters or other behaviors don't affect us so much. That is the way to hold steadfast to what Swami has taught us.
Sai, I would just briefly say, start listening to your heart and not be ruled by your mind always. I mean, that's a simple way of putting it. Heart conscience, which Neville also was mentioning in his talk. So I think when you start listening to your heart, you get the right answers, the right solutions.
Anyone else?
I want to add to that. So I think there is a practical confusion I can read that person's mind. Because everybody is divine. How do you want to judge somebody is bad and avoid bad company? I think that is what they are driving at. That is 100% true. Everybody is divine. But as one of the great saints, Sri Ramakrishna said, tiger god and then another saintly god. So there is a god is both in tiger and in a saint. But tiger god salute from a distance. You don't go and hug it, but it's also God. Whereas saintly god, good god, go and hug. Similarly, everybody is divine, but we need to use our discrimination, the Lord has said. But it's a practical thing at work and in society. We come across people of different temperaments. We don't need to hate them or judge them or avoid them or show our displeasure, but just be discreet and careful the company you keep. That's what, because in the early stages of spiritual life, we all will get influenced by the company you keep. Swami gave a beautiful example. There is a little plant, tree, when it is growing up, so you put a fence around it so that goats and other things come and eat it. So you need to protect it. But when the same tree becomes huge tree, the same cows or goats which is supposed to damage it, take shelter under its shade. Like similarly, when our spiritual growth is still in the initial stages, when you are in the bad company, it gets subdued, you will get influenced. But you are like self-realized, like Ramana Maharshi or Swami and Avatar or a great saint, you will be able to influence them. So till that stage comes, we need to be careful with who we associate. Once we get spiritually strong, then you see everything divine. There is no good and bad. Ultimate sense, in the Advaitic sense, there is nothing good, nothing bad, all is God. But till we have body consciousness, when you see the duality, this is good, this is bad, then we need to discriminate and avoid the bad. Like somebody said, there is sewage water, drinking water. So both are water, but one is sewage water which can harm you, and another is drinking water. But you may be at a stage when you are grown up, you drink sewage water, nothing happens to you, or drinking water. Then it doesn't matter. But as long as it's something which affects you, we need to use the discrimination, good and bad.
I had another reflection. In our centres, and when we're involved with, especially at office bearers level, there's often been a challenge for people to try and manage the scrubbing and the washing that's going on in the centre between personalities, these pressures that arrive. And I think the most important thing is, firstly, that we be the example. That's the most powerful thing that any office bearer can do, is to be the example and speak sweetly to everybody. Occasionally, an office bearer has to key thing here is that never speak to anyone in a correctional way unless you're doing it privately and sweetly. And even that takes some challenges to ensure that we don't injure anyone's feelings. But the key thing is, in my view, from my experience, is to be the example is the most powerful thing that we can do, and inspire people to come towards the higher ideals, which they will automatically recognise because they're inherently good.
Thank you. I think we can summarize by quoting what Dr. Reddy said about when you see that bad quality in others is probably a reflection, and therefore try and fix that log in your eye rather than twig in the other. And by fixing your log, you know that they will remove the twig themselves. Our next question: how do we maintain and spread this? What is our role?
First to count our blessings that we are fortunate to be part of the legacy. His legacy is his love, his message and his work. So first we need to spread his love, and second is be part of his work, whether all the humanitarian service projects which Swami has started, we are part of it and we are participating in his legacy. So particularly the Sathya Sai organizations which Swami has lent his name to, I think we should all be enthused to participate in that, because that is the way to spread his love and his message. That is what we need to all take active part. Any comments on that? So just be the, as he repeatedly said, somebody asked the question, how Swami, be the example. First, be the example. Second, be the example. Third. So we need to be example of his love and his message. First, for that we need to first understand his message and do his work. Because Swami works all the time, whether he is in Prasanthi, whether he goes to Ooty, whether he goes to Kodaikanal, whether he goes to Vrindavan or any place, you see him working all the time. So if you really love him and want to serve him, we need to be instrumental in his love and work all the time, have that passion, that intensity to serve.
The legacy is love all, serve. And I think if we're to take his message forward to the world as his messengers, we can do that most effectively through service. That's love in action. And I think society at large is most heavily influenced, positively influenced by us when they see the quality of our service that is given. The other aspect I'd like to draw attention to is Swami's advice that service is a 24-hour affair. It is not just the big project that we do on the weekends. Swami said, a kindly gesture is an act of service that is equal to the biggest project that you can conceive. So loving service is a state of mind. And this starts on our waking in the morning, contributing to the happiness and welfare of our family, serving the family. And Swami said, the first service you give is to yourself in order that you're not a burden on others. Then you serve your family, and with the time that you have left, serve society. I think that's the most powerful way in which we can carry his message forward into society.
Just wanted to add to that is that Dr. Reddy mentioned in the morning in one of his talks that Swami came for us. His prime message is to realize that we are divine and to help others realize they're divine. Those are the two main principles. Everything else comes from there. And to do that, he gave us an organization, the Sathya Sai organization, which you can take advantage of. Service, devotion, education, all three of them lead together. This is given in the Gita, this is given in most of the scriptures of the Lord. But to get there, you can take the long path or you can take the short path. The shortest path is the one that Swami has put forward through the organization. If you take advantage of that, you'll get there. If you don't, you'll still get there, but it may be several lifetimes. So it is up to us to make our life easier, more comfortable, and help others. And the greatest service we can do to another human being, another being, is to bring them closer to God. That is giving medicine, giving education. It is everything else, including some of the other activities and projects that the organization does. All that is taken together as service because it is helping somebody else come to Swami, besides ourselves.
Mugi is there, so she does a lot of work in human values. So spreading the human values, particularly in China, their organized religion is not allowed. So, right, Mugi, can you talk to that? So where we went to South Norman University, there you don't talk about, just talk about the human values, and there they don't talk about Swami as God or teacher, just another teacher. These human values are inculcated in the schools and society, and the parents and the teachers are so much touched by that. They said their children are transformed, they are more loving, and they're more respectful to their parents, to their teachers. So this is the way to do the human values, to participate in Swami's legacy. And there is wonderful work going in China, right? So a lot of other communities also you are going. And same thing in Russia, in Kazakhstan, our people, the first lady of Kazakhstan recognized. So these are the places where you can openly talk about God and religion. So they are accepted through these human value programs. So we can participate if we are sincere about spreading this message.
Thank you. It seems that to maintain his legacy, the best way is to practice the 5 human values. And the most effective is through loving service. But I think Brother Neville also touched that, remember, charity begins at home. So you've got to serve your family first. Very quick we are to step out when the organization says we're hosting this, we're having that, but we forget that we actually need to start at home. A happy family will make a happy society. The next question. During the talk, we had a quote where a devotee was asked by Swami, "Why don't you correct the mistakes of what the other man is doing?" And then the devotee replied, he said, "God, who am I to say when I have my own mistakes? You are God, you tell me." The question follows, very often in society and families, we see the elders and leaders going against Swami's teachings, which confuses the children, the youth, and some new members. Is it our duty to humbly express our opinions for change, or should we just leave it for Swami to fix? I'm confused.
Good, so I brought that incident. I don't want you to be confused. Let me try to make it clear. So finding faults for the sake of finding faults is not correct. Swami himself used to shout at us and correct us, cajole us, guide us, sometimes ignore us if you are not on the right path. So that is done with love. There some people have a disease just for the sake of judging others, finding fault in others, they do that. That is what Swami doesn't want. But when something is not going right, it is our duty, whether it is in the family, whether at work or in the organization, we need to, as I said, gently, lovingly point out so that it is corrected. As I said, don't do it in public, hurting somebody's feelings, but in one-to-one, we need to correct. Like for example, my nurse, she may be giving the wrong medicine, doing wrong thing to the patient. If I keep quiet, saying, "No, don't find fault," she may be harming so many other people. My duty is to tell that's not correct. So we should be careful to not confuse. Whenever you don't correct also, Swami says is wrong. Swami gives the example of Bhishma. People who know the Mahabharata, Bhishma, when something is going wrong, he was keeping quiet. He says that is wrong, you are part of the bad karma. When somebody is doing wrong, knowingly you keep quiet and get corrected. So do it with love, that's all. It doesn't matter, you try to help them out, but don't try to find faults to hurt somebody, but to try to help, we try to correct our children, our co-workers, our employees, and the people in the organization. That's our duty. So hope that clarifies. If anybody wants to add anything to that?
I've noticed that with office bearers coming into roles, there are initially some challenges, but after 2 years or 4 years, whatever the term, you can see an accelerated path to transformation. So the question is, why should we make a judgment of someone who's first coming into that role when they and every other person is on a progressive path towards improving our personalities? And the other thing that keeps on shouting at me whenever I have the slightest impulse that I've noticed the wrong action, the Swami said, the error you see in another is a reflection of your own shortcoming. So that really makes you pull back if you keep that advice of Swami's at the forefront of your mind.
Thank you. It seems that it is our duty when we see something wrong being done to correct it, but it's the intent and the way you do it that's very important. Thank you. Our next question. The Swami talks and gives prominence about service. Why have we taken the word service out of the Sathya Sai service organization?
So let me make another thing clarification. We did not take out service on the organization because Swami has said 3 wings: service wing, devotional wing, education wing. Because all the 3 are paths to reach God. One is Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga. So if you tell it is only service, that means you're excluding the path of devotion and the path of knowledge. So it is equally important. So on each one of us, depending upon our tendencies, our vasanas, we have something we like. Some people may just love singing bhajans, repeating his name, doing meditation. They reach God. There are many saints like Mirabai, Tyagaraj. They didn't do anything, just they sang praises of God, they reached the goal. And some people just do this loving service, they don't talk about anything, and they reach God. And some people just self-inquiry, sit one place, like Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, people question him, you don't do any service, you sit one place. He said, how do you know? Just he sit one place, but his powerful thoughts, good thoughts permeated the world and do service. So we cannot exclude each one his own path. We can take the path of self-service, path of knowledge. So there's all the 3 are there. That's why we don't call it just a service organization, because it includes all the 3. When you say service, you are excluding the others. So each one is important. And Swami emphasizes service because there is more practical. I remember one time when devotee was sitting in the darshan line, he said, Swami, I don't like to do this surveys. You don't directly to Swami, you tell, and I don't like to do this singing. I want to sit one place and do contemplation and self-inquiry. Swami says, that's the best. He says, most of the people cannot do that. You tell them to sit one place, still quiet, not any wandering thoughts, and well, it's not easy. That's why we have the path of singing glories and we have sharing his glories and doing service. So that is the reason we don't call it just service, which is all-encompassing, inclusive, both service, devotion and education.
Could I just get clarity on this? I understand that for years the New Zealand organisation was called the Sathya Sai Service Organisation. Is that correct? What was the formal? Yeah. And now that we have the Sathya Sai International Organisation, that's a standardisation throughout the world that the Prasanthi Council has required. So it wasn't a purposeful aim to drop or deflate the importance of service by changing that, but rather to bring all the organisations
reason for that Brother Neville just mentioned is because unity is divinity, Swami said. You don't feel like you are just a New Zealand organization or just a Wellington organization or just the Auckland organization. There are nearly 2,000 Sathya Sai centers around the world, and we are all one. And the name Sathya Sai International Organization is powerful enough to be recognized in all countries, in all zones, in every area. And later on today I'll be showing you some of the services that are going on. You'll be amazed to see the wide spectrum of work going on around the world, and you are part of it. To sponsor that feeling, we came up with one common name under Dr. Reddy's guidance that we're using around the world.
Thank you. It seems that we have the 3 wings: devotional, service, and education, and all 3 are spiritual. So, by making it standardized, we appeal to the spiritual aspect of our organization rather than just one service aspect. Our next question, Swami says, "My darshan will pour forth from me to and through you. How do we ensure that we are ready for this?" Swami says, "My darshan will pour forth from me to and through you. How do we ensure we are ready for this?"
This is the same as my life is message. So just we live the life. So this is the beautiful book called Imitation of Christ. How similarly we are His children. So first we are His messengers. Now when we become His children, that means He is full of love, we are full of love. We are Sai. We live like Sai. So the darshan will flow to us by just radiating the same love which He radiated from Him. So it radiates from us, then the darshan will flow to us. But don't think just I want give a darshan, because one time I remember this, one of the devotees said, "How are you, sir? Who are you?" "Swami, you and I are one." Then Swami said, "Just joking, you go and give darshan then." So then Swami, people throw stones at me. He said he was very humble devotee. So we need to say the highest sense as we are one, but an avatar can do darshan and spread that love.
One of the corollaries to that is that His work has to go on through us. His work was to uplift humanity, and for that we have to transform ourselves, and that work should go on. So people can feel His love, His message and His works through our work and through the generations that come after us. That is the legacy.
Thank you. I think we've reached the end of our time for the panel discussion. Thank our guests on the panel for sharing their thoughts and wisdoms to try and help clarify some of the questions we had. Thank you.